Well, welcome to Black Entrepreneur Institute Live. We're so excited to be here. It's another Tuesday evening. And folks, I want you to just sit back and relax. We have a great show planned for you this evening. I'm Cedric LaFleur. I'm going to be your MC, your host, your moderator, whatever you want to call me. I'm just here to help you grow and get better. That's it. All right. So Angela, Nicole, Dr. Nick and Damien, welcome to the show.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. It's been a minute since we've all been together.
Yeah, it has, actually.
I was feeling like you guys had just kicked me off the show or something.
We did have few inquiries. What happens?
Hey, but before we get started, on a serious note, last Friday we marked the 19th anniversary since September 11th, 2001. And I want us to make sure that we continue to stand in unity and remember the folks that lost their lives on that fateful, dreadful day in our history. So let's just take a minute to just reflect and remember the folks who died on September 11, 2001. Thank you. Now, folks, I'm telling you, tonight is going to be a really good show. I'm excited to welcome our guest on the show tonight. Tonight, we're going to attempt to broaden our key scope, what we normally focus on the show. And yes, we're all entrepreneurs. Yes, we're all leaders. But do you realize that we're also all salespeople? Now hear me. I hear people say all the time that they're not good at sales. They say, I don't like salespeople. That's not something I'm good at. I'm scared to sell. Well, let me tell you something, folks. We are all salespeople. You see, if you're connected with another human being, you are a salesperson. If you're working in a flower shop making flower arrangements, you are a salesperson. If you're a mechanic fixing a car, you are a salesperson. If you're a stay-at-home parent, you are a salesperson. You see, we all are salespeople. We don't just think about it. I want you to say to yourself, I'm a salesperson. Right. See, every day you're selling someone on your ideas, on your thoughts, on your concepts, on your opinion. It's all sales. Sales is about influence. Right. So tonight we're bringing on a personal friend of mine. We're bringing on a former colleague. We're bringing on a fellow Steelers fan. And we're bringing, I have to throw that in there, sorry. And we're bringing on a dynamic sales professional, right? Now, I'm going to tell this quick story and then we're going to bring him on. I'm going to introduce you to the guest. A father said to his son, stop asking so many questions. He said, curiosity killed the cat. Well, the little boy was puzzled and he sit and thought about that for a little while. So he's asked his father, he goes, well, what did the cat want to know? You see, that's what sales is, folks. Sales is about asking questions. Questions never hurt you. They actually help you to thrive. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand, sales is about asking questions. So just ask yourself a question. And once you understand it, the second part of sales is meeting an explicit need. So let me get to introduce our guest. I'm going to bring him on and I'm going to let him hear me introduce him. Ken, welcome to the show. Now, let me introduce you first. We always like to do a proper introduction of our guests. So let me introduce you. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have Mr. Kenneth Marcus Thornton. Ken is the Vice President of Sales for the Eastern Zone of the Laboratory Products Division of Cardinal Health. In this role, Ken is responsible for sales growth and earnings attainment of the diagnostic instrumentation, reagent, and consumable products. This involves managing a team of directors, a team of managers, and over 60 sales consultants. It also requires developing and maintaining relationships with a multitude of suppliers as well as strategic customers. Ken joined Cardinal Health in 2015 after serving in prominent leadership roles with Granger, Johnson & Johnson, Abbott Laboratories, the Xerox Corporation. His experience includes demonstrated accomplishments in team leadership, strategic planning, process improvement, project management, and brand management. In other words, the brother is sharp, right? Ken earned his BBA degree from Baruch College in New York City with a major in marketing and a minor in biology. Ken is a board member of Lab Test Online, and he serves as the executive sponsor of the African American Network for Cardinal Health. Ken's favorite quote lends insight to his approach to his work at Cardinal Health. And it says, "Spectacular performance is always preceded by unprecedented preparation." Now, that's an amazing quote. So let's welcome Kenneth Marcus Thornton to the show. I call him Kenny T.
So I got my terrible towel, man.
All right, I love it.
You gotta have that. Hey, how you doing tonight?
Awesome.
Well, we're doing good, brother. Welcome to the show. I'm glad you're here.
I'm glad to be here, Cedric, for you and your staff members.
So, Ken, we're just going to jump into some questions and just have some really friendly dialogue. And as I was telling the audience before we brought you on, is we want to talk about sales. A lot of people are afraid of sales, right? They say, well, they don't like sales. They're afraid of it. So that's all we're going to talk about tonight. So tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and your journey to leadership, and how did you get to where you are today?
Cedric, that's a great question, and thanks for the opportunity. I tell you, Cedric, it's a great story. It involves a lot of ins and outs and puts and takes of getting to where I am today. I'm going to, leave out the start of my life, and I'll go straight to corporate America, because at the end of the day, Cedric, leadership is a verb, right? Leadership is what you do. It's not really the title that you're connected to that make you a leader. So from my perspective, I've always been a leader. I've been a leader since I've come out the womb. I was born a leader. However, as I got into corporate America, and I'm going to take you down my story. I came out of college and didn't really know what I wanted to do or where I wanted to do it. And I got an opportunity to work for what I believe is probably one of the best sales organizations regarding training in America, and still today, and that's Xerox Corporation. So I joined Xerox and got in there with a sense of passion and conviction to do all the great things. And I did well. I did it in New York City. I was in Wall Street was my area. So I was, when the World Trade Center was still in existence, that was my territory, the 2 buildings of the Wall Street Center. And I canvassed those buildings and did very well. And of course, acquired the accolades of performance as it relates to, selling product to a customer. President's Club, many promotions, multiple promotions, and got to a point where I was ready to make another move. And I did that because I got the foundation of selling at that point from a training perspective, but I also wanted to use my customer service skills and taking care of the customer. And in Xerox, you didn't realize that, because you would sell a copier, and a couple more years, you sell another copier, and it moved on and move on. I wanted a more account management opportunity, and a recruiter approached me with the Abbott Laboratories opportunity. And I tell you, Cedric, before joining Abbott, I had 2 offers in my hand. One from Abbott Laboratories and one from Ciba Geigy. You may remember, the pharmaceutical company many years ago. And I actually started working for Ciba Geigy for one day. And I got the car, Cedric, the company car, the computer, and everything. And I worked for the company, and a guy named Skip Bordino. You may know who that is.
Oh, wow.
Skip Bordino is my district sales manager for Abbott, right? And he came to my house, and on my kitchen table, he gave me all the reasons why I should join Abbott Laboratories over Ciba Geigy. So after he finished his sales pitch, I called Ciba Geigy the next day and told the manager, hey, but no thanks. Come get your car and I'll FedEx your computer back to you. And Skip was a sales guy. Skip told me why he wanted to join, and I joined Abbott. And back in those days, Cedric, we were selling capital equipment was more important. Instead of having a reagent agreement plan, you would have to sell the equipment like the CCX, the Spectrum, the EPX, all those chemistry systems. Skip wanted somebody to sell those items, and he wanted me on the team because he knew I did well at Xerox selling capital equipment. So I joined, of course, Abbott and did very well there. It was the DSS of the year, my second year in 1993. DSS of the year out of 300 reps. I was number one in the country. And Cedric, I'm not sure if he was in the audience that time looking up at me, but I was the guy. Just to let you know, right? So did that very well.
So he has jokes, folks.
I moved on to an account executive, which is bigger and better accounts. And then I moved to be a hematology product specialist. And at that time, that was a rough opportunity for me, rough position for me. And I decided to move on and do something bigger and better at Johnson & Johnson. And J&J gave me the opportunity as another skill set, and that was to sell on the carpet, selling to relevant executives, CEO suites. It's a different discussion. You have more financial, strategic, executive discussions. It's different from selling to a lab manager or lab director. So that gave me another skill set in J&J. And again, accolades, Ambassadors Club, did very well at J&J. And I got another call from a guy named Skip Bordino. So Skip hired me twice at Abbott. He's hired me into my first role. And then Skip, again, hired me back into Abbott the second time. And I could tell you there's 3 reasons why I went back to Abbott. First of all, because I really still believed in the company. Although I left the company, I left on good regards, and I still believed in the company. The second reason I came back is because they brought me back in a position that could make a difference. And that was as a district sales manager. I have never led people at that point. So that was very important for me as far as my progression of my career. And the third reason I came back is because Skip Bordino asked me to. And I really believe that he would take care of my career. And it really made sense for doing it for him. I'm not sure if anybody else would have asked me if I would have been as open, because I was having a great career at Johnson & Johnson. So I came back to Abbott. And of course, at that point, we got further engaged in district sales meeting, leading people. I did a health system manager role, went into corporate, did the national account manager role. And then, of course, I did the director of brand marketing role. All leadership roles, Cedric, and doing it very well, and did very well in that position. And then, of course, unfortunately, I got the notice that, Abbott downsized my position. So when you're in the sales game, it's a difference of being on the side on the cost center and the profit center. There's 2 roles in any corporation. When you fall on that cost center side of the job, you are more vulnerable to being on the profit side, which is sales. So this whole thing is about sales, and sales is the place to be. So I got caught into a downsizing, and then of course, they always say that God put you in a hallway for a reason. He closed one door, he put me in a hallway, and then I didn't see it at that point, but it was a blessing because I got the opportunity to join Grainger within no time, and I got there and did 2 leadership positions, including leading their national account team, and also learned distribution at that time. So it was a blessing because Grainger gave me the opportunity to learn distribution, and now today, I work for the largest healthcare distributor in the world, us and McKesson, because I got the distribution experience. But God was putting me or testing me at that point of putting me outside. And now he gave me an opportunity to lead the sales leadership role in the lab, about 60, 70 people. I got $1 billion book of business that I'm over, and I've been crushing the numbers for the last 5 years. So that's my journey. It was a lot of ins and outs, puts and takes, made a lot of mistakes, learned from them. But I did well. So that's my journey to leadership today and where I sit today with Cardinal Health.
That's a great story, a great testimony of your journey. So let me ask you this. As you know, we're the Black Entrepreneurs Institute. So all of us are in entrepreneurship. And of course, we work with other entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. And one of the things we hear often is entrepreneurs that have products and services, but they say things such as, I don't want to be salesy, or I don't like sales. And so being a sales professional and a leader in sales, what would you say, and how would you encourage entrepreneurs that are really struggling with the mindset of what sales are and what they can do for their business?
No, Angela, so don't listen to them. If they come up like that, Angela, don't listen to them, because, at the end of the day, I heard Cedric said it earlier, sales makes the world go around, right? Could you think of anything that has been done, any kind of transaction that has happened that didn't involve sales, right? You think of, the shirt you're wearing, somebody had to sell the cotton to get that, you think about the necklace around your neck, somebody had to sell the silver, it's all about sales. Everything you do, the products do your hair, that's sales. So sales is a great thing because sales is nothing but a transference of feelings, right? So in order to sell, you're just taking how you feel about something or someone and selling that ideal concept to somebody else. And that's all it is. So when you deal with sales, as long as you believe in what you're selling, you believe in the services and products you're providing, Angela, you can actually take that and transfer that feeling onto another person. That's all about selling. So believe in what you do, believe in your products, your service, your company. And if you do that, selling will get you a long way. So never believe people that say that sales or what that is. Sales makes the world go around.
And I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I'll be truly transparent. For years, I struggled with sales, and it's only been probably the last 4 or 5 I've gotten more comfortable with them. But often when I hear that, it's because people have had a bad experience in sales. And so maybe then that's that second part of that. How would you advise someone to get past that?
Yeah, well, you know what? All salespeople are not created equal, right? So anything on any kind of spectrum, as you bring any type of situation, you're going to have people representing something in the wrong way. I mean, there's always people that don't go through the traditional sales programs and techniques and training that they need. And, you come in there like a used car salesman, right? So you got to make sure you come in there, understand customer needs, you be a great listener to what the customer is saying, you understand exactly what they do, and you match those needs, right, to a solution that you have. And at the same time, Angela, if you feel that you don't have the right product or service to meet that customer needs, then you consult them and tell them that, hey, you know what? I'm not trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. I'm going to let you know that my product or my service does not suit your needs, and I'm willing to, pass you on to another salesman that may have that need. The problem with salespeople that try to push products or do things unethically is those that give the profession a bad name. But if you wanted to a really good salesman like Cedric LaFleur, you'll be fine.
Love it.
I love it. And you're giving a lot of us a great information on sales. As an entrepreneur, when I first started out, I started taking classes, trying to learn as much as I can, especially in sales. And they give you all of these techniques and methods of what to do, what to say. And you've been in the industry for a time. And my question to you is, how has sales, even techniques or methods, evolved over time from maybe when you started out at Xerox to where it is now? And then as follow-up to that, what are some of the best techniques for now and how the industry is that we as entrepreneurs can benefit from?
That's a great question, Dr. Nicole Rankin. Rankin, how do I pronounce it? Rankin, see?
That's it. You was close.
E for effort. You know what, Dr. Nicole, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I don't think sales techniques have really evolved that much. I think the mediums we use have evolved, right? But not the actual techniques. I'm thinking back when I learned with Xerox, that was spin selling. Situation, problem, implication, needs, payoff. That's what spin says. That's an acronym for spin. And then I moved from spin selling, I moved into, conceptual selling. And then I moved into challenger selling. And then I moved into Richardson sales methodology. All of those techniques have really a lot of common features to how we go get things done and how we sell products to the customer. So it hasn't evolved over the many years. However, the mediums have changed. I mean, back in the days, when we used to do things, you go back to the office and you pick up, a brochure, you put a couple of, I used to listen to Zig Ziglar back in the days. I bought cassette tapes. I put in my cassette in between the sales call. I put that cassette in, and from call to call, I used to listen to Zig Ziglar, Og Mandino, Brian Tracy. I had all those cassette tapes. Now, I'm not sure. I don't think Damien even know what a cassette tape is. Damien, you know what a cassette tape is?
Of course, I know.
All right. I figured you didn't know, but so Nicole. So I used to use it back in the day. That was my techniques in them. But now the medium of course, moved from cassettes to CDs to other things. I got to ask my kids about the other stuff because I don't even know what Twitter and all that kind of stuff is. But I think the medium has changed. But the sales techniques, I can go in today, I can tell you, Nicole, and use spin selling and be very successful. Very successful with spin, because it's a methodology that's proven and there's no expiration to it. So I don't think it has evolved that much. And your next question, Nicole, please ask me that next question again, the second part of your question.
No, I think you answered it. It was just what are some of the best techniques and approaches that we can use today?
Okay, no, absolutely. And the best technique is understanding the customer needs, listening, and matching those needs with a solution that makes sense for the customer. And if it doesn't match, walk away from that situation for the next opportunity. Then customers will respect that you're saying this doesn't match with what I'm trying to figure out. They do. They respect that.
I love that.
Can you drop in some nuggets there, man? I really, really appreciate it. I've been a sales guy for a long time, and so hearing the stuff that you're talking about, music to my ears. But I want to ask you this question because very clearly you have been a successful leader in sales for a very, very long time. I want to hear from your life, though. I want to understand from you, what is the most painful or the most costly lesson that you've learned as a sales leader, and then how has that lesson served you throughout your career?
Good question. Whew. You know what? Probably the most painful lesson I've learned as a sales leader, right, leading people, is don't try to create mini me's, right? And what I mean by that, when you find a salesperson, a sales team member that's trying to get something done a certain way, don't expect them to do it the way you would have done it, right? Let them be authentic in their approach. Let them be creative. Let them think outside the box. Let them even bump their head a little bit as they make mistakes. Now, if they're clueless about their approach, about how to get things done, then you can offer your opinion or try to create or try to shape them to be somewhat like you. But being authentic and being, unique in your approach is very valuable in front of the customer, because they have to internalize, personalize, and customize their approach to the business. So if they go in there trying to sound like you or be like you, that's a hard job. It's hard to be somebody else. It really is. If you ever tried that, it's very difficult and very tiresome trying to be somebody else that you're not. And I've tried to be Michael Jordan and Derek Jeter. It just don't work. So now I just got to be Ken Thornton, right? And I know I can be Ken Thornton better than anybody in this universe. And I can say that factually. Can nobody be Ken Thornton better than Ken Thornton? So probably the biggest mistake is trying to make somebody do something, because there's many ways to skin a cat. There's many ways to get things done. Allow them the opportunity to do that. And maybe if they make a mistake, that's a good thing, because making mistakes, if you're not making mistakes, you're not doing enough. And I think that's growth. When you make mistakes, learn from it and move on. So that's probably the most painful one, because over time, Damien, I have realized that that's not the right way to do it. And now I am so supportive and I embrace authenticity in my salespeople. They're all different. And I commend them for that. And if they need some help or support, some guidance, some mentoring, I can do that, but I'm not going to try to let them be me or any of their leaders. So that's probably the painful one.
That's good stuff. Thanks, Ken.
You're welcome.
Wow. So Ken, you're dropping in some gold, and I might have to pass the plate in a little bit to the audience, because you're dropping in way more gold than I wanted, right? We're talking, like Angela said, to entrepreneurs, and some of them are new entrepreneurs. Some of them are serial entrepreneurs, and they've had different businesses for a long time. But some of them are just afraid of sales. So if you had, if you could give them two things that differentiate successful sales pros from unsuccessful salespeople, just things that will help them understand how to be that successful sales pro, what would 2 or 3 things be?
Yeah. So I the biggest thing, Cedric, and you brought this up when you was introducing me to the thing, is being a good listener. Successful salespeople are good listeners. Some people, Cedric, because listening or you sell through asking. You don't sell through telling. Most people think you can say, no. You sell through asking, and you typically know the answer to the question, but you try to direct the customer down the path you're trying to go. Some people listen to understand, and others listen to respond. You hear what I said, Cedric?
Right.
Some people listen to understand, and others listen to respond. So this is wait for you. I can't wait till this person shut up so I can say. You ain't even listen to what they're saying. You just trying to make them be quiet, and you can respond. And that's a very ineffective way to sell. And so listening is a great trait of a great salesperson. The other thing, Cedric, is just being a hard worker, hustle. Effort is so critical as the good salespeople versus the unsuccessful salespeople. I tell you, Cedric, when I was selling in New York City, I was going into the hospital when the other sales reps were coming out of the hospital. So at 4:00, I was the one going. He said, "What you going?" So other people coming out trying to get happy hour. They're trying to beat the traffic going home. Mm-hmm. I was going into the hospital because I know there was more to be done. So hard work ethic is so important to us. I tell you, when I travel my salespeople now, they better work me to death because they be like, "It's 3:00." I'd be like, 3:00? Are you? What you mean? Are you ready to go to lunch?
You know they're trying to get that PP lunch.
Yeah, exactly. At 3:00, that should be lunchtime, right? Because that ain't the end of the day. And I have to tell my people, yo, let's hustle. And anytime you people listening on the phone, if you work with your boss or your boss's boss or bosses, work him or her to death. Work him or her to death. Do not take a short day when you're with your boss. And I take that same work ethic, and that's what it's all about. So the hustle, Cedric, the grind is so important. And the third thing, you said 2 or 3. The third thing for me, Cedric, is making mistakes. Good salespeople make a bunch of mistakes. You just think of the average, baseball player that hits 350 a year. 350, that means 3.5 times out of 10 or 6.5 times he's getting out. But 350 is a great batting average for a great player. And you got to realize making mistakes is what it's all about, because if you're not making mistakes, you're not doing enough. And if you try to stay within that zone of making mistakes, that means you're not growing. And making mistakes mean you're growing. Now, you need to learn from the mistakes or learn from the others, but you got to make mistakes. So great listener, making mistakes is so important. And then grinding. You got to grind, Cedric, because anybody can be outsmart you.
Right.
Somebody outwork you. You got to look in the mirror and say, hey, I'm not giving it enough. That's easy to do, is outwork somebody, or easier than to outsmart them. I'll take a hard worker any day over a smart worker, because smart workers try to cut corners, and that's not a good thing.
Yes.
I love those 3 points: listening, making mistakes, and grinding. Yeah. So like Cedric said, this is gold right here. And so when you talked about earlier, I love the way you said that sales makes the world go round. Mm-hmm. And as entrepreneurs, usually starting out, you are a person is what we call the solopreneur, because they're everything in their business before it kind of builds out. So in thinking about getting your product or your services out there and sales, how should sales and marketing work together for a business owner?
No, but that's a great question, Nicole. And that's, sales and marketing is like, Peter Butter and Jelly, Starsky and Hutch, Cagney and Lacey, Batman and Robin. They go together, right? With one without the other is really don't work. And, the role of sales, I think you're pretty equipped to know, understand what that is. From marketing perspective, because marketing, sales is the steak. Marketing is the sizzle, right? So you got to have the sizzle, because without the sizzle and the steak, it just don't mean, how you go to those places, those like Benihana's, and they threw that fire and all that kind of stuff. Like, if you don't turn that fire on, you're gonna burn my shirt. But that's marketing, right? Because it has nothing to do with the food. It just has to do with the presentation of the food. And marketing needs to get the right the paraphernalia, the product sources, the focus groups, all the trending, all the marketing, all the metrics in place to make the salesperson job easier. So that's what it's all about. I truly believe that anybody in marketing needs to carry a bag first, so they can understand the customer issues and what's going on at that point. And then at that point, they can actually come into marketing because they have a understanding of dynamics in the field. But marketing is great. I've done sales. I've done marketing. I love both. One is on the cost center side of the business, One is on the profit side of the business. So as you look at that, but I think marketing is critical because it gives you an extension of your worth and your value proposition as you start to move on in the organization. Marketing is critical to get that experience. But it goes one-on-one. Sales is not as good without marketing, and marketing definitely is not good without sales. Understand exactly what's going on. So that's critical.
So you shared a little bit earlier in the question about, listening to Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy and whatnot. So clearly you're into, personal development, professional development and personal growth. What would be some other recommendations that you would make to people trying to grow themselves in the sales lane, particularly, again, going back to what Dr. Nicole said, with the understanding that many of them are solopreneurs?
No, absolutely. So, I mean, the thing about it, what I would do as an entrepreneur is if I was starting out, because, as an entrepreneur, you have, and I'm going to go from a business topic, owning your own business is a very difficult, endeavor, as you well know. And then as you go into entrepreneurship, you got to realize there's something called limited liability and unlimited liability, right? I know you guys know what that means. That means when you go into a corporate environment, you have limited liability. You can make mistakes, you can do things, and it won't cost you, your lifeline, But in the entrepreneur world, if you make some mistakes, critical mistakes, you can go under based upon that. So I would probably recommend people going into a sales environment, make as many mistakes as you want, learn as much as you want, and then move into the entrepreneurship. And some people are not made for corporate America, and I get that, and I understand and I respect those decisions. But that's what I would do. To a point of having an entrepreneur, I would definitely get a mentor in place, somebody that can guide you down the path and be able to maybe provide some of their mistakes they made and how they went down a certain path of destruction or a path of prosperity, depending on that. I think that's so critical. Then, the whole world of networking. I think the networking piece, Angela, is so critical. I can just give you a case in point as I went through my life in corporate America. When I moved from Abbott to Granger, the way I got into Granger is I'm a Harley rider. I was on a Harley Davidson. And I was riding, of course, hat turned backwards, jeans on, leather jackets and all that. And I was at an event and I was talking to a gentleman at the event. And we just started going back and forth. And I told him, what I did for a living and what yada, yada, yada. And lo and behold, he was a senior vice president at Granger. I talked to him. And the next week after that, I was sitting down with a panel interview with 5 functional vice presidents that worked for him. And I blew them away, of course. And I got a job through networking. It's amazing what networking do for you, being connected. And you never know. So you always got to be on your game. Some people say, get ready. No, don't get ready. Stay ready. Stay ready. And that's what you got to do. Although I was on my Harley Davidson, had turned backwards, whatever, I'm staying ready. I'm always on the game. So that's what it's all about, Angela. Hopefully I answered some of your question. To a point of what I believe entrepreneurs can do, be networked, be connected, get a mentor, hopefully get some experience before you go into that role so you can make some mistakes in that role so it'd be limited as you go into owning your own.
No, that was excellent. I think you nailed it. And those are some of the things, it actually sees into some of the things we even try to do for entrepreneurs in our institute. So thank you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Good stuff. So Ken, I've got the next question. So, one of the things that we believe is that, and to your point about getting a mentor, we believe that success leaves clues, right? And it is said that life is the sum of our habits, that we are what we repeatedly do. Can you talk to us a little bit about what some of your habits and routines have been that have led you to success? Stuff that you just kind of do day in, day out. What does that look like?
No, absolutely. And Damien, I shared with you guys earlier, I'm from Harlem, New York City. So I'm a hustler, right? They shape me a little well. They clean me up, but I didn't come out like this, believe me. And this took a lot of time and patience from other people and good people around me to get me to where I'm at today. Because, I could have went down a path of destruction easily based upon my background and the distraction I had in place. I grew up watching Family Ties, on TV. You guys made no Family Ties. That was my mentor growing up. I wanted to be that. I wanted to be Alex Keaton. That's what I wanted to be. Right? That was my job. every Sunday. I used to watch him, boy. He was Wall Street. And that was my mentor. So I watched him, and then I went down the right path. And then now, today I'm that person. But, as far as the habits is concerned, I'm a hustler. I grind. I'm a hard worker. I'm not gonna let nobody outwork me at any point in time. I'm a 7 to 7 guy. 7 in the morning, 7 at night, and then I'll break it down and go to the next venture at that point. I'm a planner. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? You got to plan things out. You got to see things and put things in front of them. You got to put 101 before 102. I don't try to jump, over anything. I try to put things in a sequence that makes sense for me. I'm a measure twice, cut once kind of guy. Measure twice, cut once, right? That's me. I don't overanalyze it, but I'm to the point where I make sure things make sense. Got to line it up. Got to sleep on it. No knee-jerk reaction, especially in the business I run today. You talk about $1 billion business. It's a big business, and I'm over that. And it comes with a sense of accountability and expectations, and I'm not going to lose that over making a simple, rash discussion or decision. That's all about it. And then at the end of the day, Damien, I like helping people because success is individual, significance is others, right? So if you're successful, that's okay. I'm successful, but when you start talking about significance, that means you're taking that success and you extending it beyond yourself, and that's what I'm all about. It's all about getting results, but at the end of the day, equally as important is developing people around you to get results, so you can make them independent and make them a hero, make them leaders instead of developing followers. Exponential versus just adding success. Wow,
that's good stuff. Well, and we can thank you for that. By the way, I don't think I've ever heard it that way before. That's some gold right there. Hey, so as a follow up to that, I believe that leaders are readers, and so I would love to sort of take me through some of the books that you read that have been game changers for you in your career.
Oh, absolutely. I love reading. Typically what I do, and I've fallen off on this a little bit because it's got busy, but I read a business book a month and then a happy book a month. So I'm usually on a plane driving and flying around the city. So it's a business book, good book, business book, good book. So I try to trade them off to get a little, little relief from the business mode all the time. But I tell you, and it's different books. So from a sales perspective, I'm a Zig Ziglar guy all up and down. So if you got anything with Zig Ziglar name on it, God bless his soul, he's passed away, but I'm a Zig Ziglar guy. But if you talk about sales, there's a couple of books you can read. Spin Selling by Neil Rackham. Spin, S-P-I-N, Sell by Neil Rackham. The Little Red Book of Selling by Jeff Gittimore is a good one. Mm-hmm. So that's from a sales perspective. And then if you want to get into business and strategy, you get into Good Is Not Enough by Keith Weiss. Good Is Not Enough. That's a great book. I know him personally. He's a good guy. What Makes It Great by Dennis Kimbrough. That's a good book. Good to Great by, I think it's Jim Collins. I know it's Collins, but Jim Collins, Good to Great. The Blue Ocean Strategy. Great book. If you want to get, outside the mind of the normal stuff, Blue Ocean Strategy is a good book. And then if you talk about leadership and leadership only, you got to go with John Maxwell. With John Maxwell, I know the 360 degree leader. I'm down with that. 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. I'm down with that one. Everybody communicates, but only few connect. I read all of his books. You can't tell me nothing about John Maxwell from a leadership perspective. I dive into those. So those are some good books. You got more out there that can definitely read, Mojo and other books, but those are the ones that come top of mind for me. And I think you get a lot out of them if you just, put yourself and commit yourself to them.
Good stuff. Thanks, Ken.
That's a great list there. And, Ken, you talked about people that having good mentors and networking. And I know that you're surround yourself with good people to network with. And, one of the folks that you network with had a message for you, and I got to show you this here.
He said, I told you I was from Harlem. I don't play. Look at those. Look at with those chestnuts.
I can see, don't mess with Ken. He could definitely shoot, right? So I was like, wow, man, I got to leave Ken alone. He's around different.
You gotta go for the heart, man. You got to go for the heart. I think that was my first time shooting too. I mean, usually when I had to hold it like this, but he told me I had to put it around and hold it like that.
So this person also gave me a message to deliver.
Okay.
And I'm sure you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Mr. Joe Nimmers.
Absolutely.
And he's listening in tonight. So for those of you who don't know, Joe Nimmers was a corporate president for Abbott Laboratories. And he actually was an executive sponsor for the Black Business Network within Abbott. But Joe said, hey, KT was our best golfer, followed by Ron Burke, and Gresh was the runner-up.
Facts. Yeah, I tell you, Joe is dynamic. I mean, I have never met a man that is so genuine and committed than Joe Nimmers. If ever involved with him in any endeavor, he would see it through. And I remember one time, Joe was also a big sponsor of the African American Diversity Initiative, for the BBN and the BLC. And Cedric Singleton we were tasked to go to the National Sales Network and hire people. And Joe gave us the authority and everything to do it. And Cedric and I, of course, came back after the event, and we had 0 hires. And we came back to Joe, and Joe said, hey, who you hire? We said, well, no, we talked to a lot of people. And Joe said, you didn't hear what I said. I said, hire 4 people. So Cedric and I got on the phone within 48 hours. We hired 4. We called people and we said, how much you make today? They said, I make X amount of money. Okay, we'll up that by 5% and you're hired today. And he was serious about that. And, there's no organization that gave anybody authority to do that because he knew that was the right thing to do and it made sense across the board. So that was an example that I have with Joe. Many more, but that was just one that was exemplary, and he was committed to what he was saying. He says what he does and does what he says, which is great. I love Joe.
Absolutely. And guys, we're joking a little bit with Ken, but what this was, the message here is about networking, right? You can, we always say you are the average of the 5 people you hang around with, right? Ken has a lot of great people that he's hanging around with in his network. He lets me tag along every now and then, right? So thank you, Ken, for coming on the show. And I again, totally appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to be here. So ladies and gentlemen, you can see this guy is sharp, right? Now, if you see him in person somewhere, he's always going to be dressed sharp, right? I mean, from head to toe, he's going to have on his designer shoes and his custom suits. There's no racks. I remember when I was a young guy, Ken told me, "Hey, don't ever put a suit on a wire rack. Always have wood." Right?
You're right about that, man. You're right about that. Absolutely.
So he's the ultimate professional, and hopefully, you picked up some sales tips and things that you can utilize in your business. And that's really what our goal is tonight, is to bring guests that can help broaden your scope, help take you to the next level in your business and what you're doing. So Ken, again, I know you had a lot of stuff that you could be doing with your business or with your family. So I thank you for being with us tonight.
No, Cedric, first of all, thank you for the opportunity. This has been nothing short of magnificent. I appreciate the medium, the platform, the opportunity to really enlighten others that's coming behind me. At this point, I'm definitely on the back nine of my career, and it's all about giving back at this point. Still moving the needle, but being able to bring others behind me, given the opportunity that I was given, when I was, unsure about which way I wanted to move. And you're right about that network of people. It's essential to put the right people around you. There's room for knuckleheads, but don't get too close to them. But you got to steer them in the right direction. But you're always a reflection of people that come around you, and you never want to be caught up in anything that you had no business being in. But I have always enjoyed our friendship, Cedric. I'm glad to see that you have evolved and prospered into what you are today, which is magnificent. I'm sure, everybody around you, including your family especially, is happy with what you've done. And I was glad that I had the opportunity to speak to your colleagues, Angela, Nicole, and Damien. It was great meeting you all. Angela, continue to go black and gold, Angela, as you will.
That's right. Stiller Nation.
Absolutely. Damien, refine your soccer game, and Nicole, go to Junior's Brooklyn, go get some of that cheesecake.
That's right.
All right, Nicole, we're going to turn it over to you.
Awesome. Again, thank you, Ken, for coming. We truly appreciate and value your time and all the golden nuggets that you have provided for us and also our audience on today. So, guys, if you were watching and you weren't taking copious notes like I was, you were missing it. So I just want to follow up on some key things that Ken dropped that I want to make sure that you have. When he said that sales makes the world go round, it causes you to think, because we hear a lot of times, I'm not a salesperson. I don't want to be the salesperson. I don't want to be that pushy salesperson. But as business owners, how are you going to get your product out there, get your service out there if you don't sell? So having an understanding that we are all in sales, and sales makes the world go round in everything that you do, not just in your business, in your life, in your relationship. It's all about, as Ken says, transferring feelings. And I love that. It's a transfer of feelings. And if you believe in whatever your product is, whatever your service is, you have the ability to transfer that feeling. That right there alone was gold. That understanding that it's not about you, right? It's about something that you believe in and that you want others, that you believe that you are a problem solver. You're a solution, bringing a solution to somebody to be a problem solver. So as business owners, getting in that mindset will help you and go far. He also talked about the technique of SPIN, SPIN, situation, problem, implication, and needs. And we've talked about this before. No, Damien did the teaching, and this is something that we teach in our boot camp. So if you all are unfamiliar with that, listen into, we're giving you gold here, so we're not just giving you theory. We have a top VP of sales telling you the same techniques that we are teaching. So understand that it's the listening to your customer it's what it's all about, knowing their needs. And I love when he said that if you can't match their service, be able to walk away and know and offer some other solution, or maybe there's something else, because there's so much out there for everybody. And that's the understanding that we have to have. So thank you again for dropping that goal. We appreciate you and we value your time. Again, we can't thank you enough for your time and for being here. And guys, so if you all thought that was amazing, make sure you make sure you share. And next week, we will be here with another amazing guest. We have 14-year-old entrepreneur, Lexi P. Lexi P has started her own natural care hair products in 2018, and now in 2020 it's in 88 Sally's beauty stores nationwide. This young lady is 14 years old. Not only is she selling beauty care products, she had just launched a program where her goal is now to teach business skills to other young girls ages 6 to 16, as she's teaching them business skills, communication, and all of the things that she has learned as a 14-year-old entrepreneur to empower them to be their best self. So it's going to be amazing, guys. So tune in next week right here at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. We'll be talking with Lexi P, and she will be sharing some gold and letting us know about her journey as a 14-year entrepreneur. So thank you so much for watching. We thank you for Paul and Roddy for allowing us the opportunity to share our expertise and to bringing wonderful guests like Ken and Lexi to give you some goods to help you in your business, because that is the goal. We want you to have businesses where you can elevate your mind and elevate your mindset. So be sure to catch us on Black Entrepreneurs Institute on our Facebook page. Listen to what we're doing. Get some tips, get some strategies, because that's what we're here. We're here to serve you so you can have a prosperous business. So next coming up is the candle lighting at 8:30. So be sure to watch that and support that. Again, we thank you. You all have a wonderful night and be balanced. Until next time, next week, 7:30 at Eastern Standard Time. I want to make sure next Tuesday. And we got the towel going here. Ken's representing.
Beautiful towel.
And if you